Hello and welcome to another episode of Chalk Talk here on the Brandon Ramsey College Basketball Show YouTube channel. We are quickly going to go over some of Vanderbilt's ball screening action that we will see as Kentucky heads down to Memorial Gymnasium to take on the Commodores on Saturday afternoon at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Why is this such a big deal? Well, you have one of the better ball screening teams in the country in Vanderbilt going against one of the teams that is as bad at guarding the pick and roll as anybody in the country, and that is Kentucky. So if Vanderbilt's going to pull off the quote unquote upset, it is on their home floor, but I believe they're about 3.5 point underdogs. It's probably going to be with Kentucky struggling in ball screen coverage. I'm going to talk a little bit about what Vanderbilt does to exploit teams in pick and roll coverage, and then also what Kentucky can do to hopefully combat some of that on Saturday. Vanderbilt begins in a lot of this 77 action with a staggered ball screen up top. Number 5, Nickel, is an excellent shooter, while number 99, McLaughlin, he is much more of a roll guy. So they're going to have one guy pop and one guy roll out of this. Now, what you'll see here, this is number 11, Hogard, coming off. Especially when the screens are all the way out here, there's absolutely nothing wrong with going underneath on Hogard. He's much more of a playmaker and a driver than he is a shooter. He's definitely a capable three-point shooter, but we're not as worried about him shooting threes as we are him assisting to other guys. So going underneath is certainly fine. Again, especially when these screens are being set 35 and 27 feet from the basket. But what happens here, if you're going to go under, then there's really no reason to need to help at the point of the screen, because you're just sliding underneath, and then this guy could have stayed with McLaughlin on the roll. That would have kept this defender from quote unquote having to tag on the roll, which then left a 38+% three-point shooter wide open from three on the pop. Now, there's a couple things here. Again, we definitely are okay with going underneath on Hogard. Then you can just stay with your man the whole time. We're also fine with just switching any of the ball screens involving number 5, Nickel. We could have just switched right here and then probably stayed underneath, or heck, just switched it again, even there with a forward-on-forward screen. But what we never want is this. I would rather give up a pass on the roll there, especially if you can maybe crack down a little bit here, than giving up a 3 to Nickel on the pop. That just can't happen. Have to take away those threes on Saturday. It worked once, so why not run it again? Here's more 77 action, just a staggered middle ball screen. Again, you get a roll and a pop. This time, Hogard's able to turn the corner and get downhill. This is why we are fine with going under. If you go under this, then most likely you cut off that penetration, or you just need to switch it. Again, anytime that Nickel is involved in a ball screen, especially when he sets the second one, that's a really easy switch. Just step out here, stay in front of your man, and then you know that Nickel's popping, so you can just kind of wrap back around him and stay with him there on the perimeter. You don't want to let Hogard get downhill, because that's where he's going to make his money for Vanderbilt. Worked twice. Why not run it 3 times in a row? Again, 77 action, staggered middle ball screen. This time you just never get number 1, Edwards, stopped with the ball. He's much more dynamic. He's a much better shooter off the dribble, so we do want to chase him over the top here, but you just got to get him corralled a little bit more. If that means giving more ground, that means giving more ground. Also, you definitely can be stunting and faking more, and maybe even coming all the way in to try to take it off of Edwards. I believe he has 27 assists and 31 turnovers on the year, so making him give it up to a 30% three-point shooter there in the corner wouldn't be a bad thing either. Those were all from the Tennessee game, where Vandy ended up escaping with a 1-point win. Now let's take a look at some actions from the South Carolina matchup. We just get to kind of a middle ball screen handoff here. That's again number 99, McLaughlin, with the handoff. Number 1, Edwards, coming off. He is a shooter, so we do want to stay over the top of that. You have to be able to make some decisions on the fly here as he's kind of driving it into this amount of help. It's going to be really hard for him to turn the corner and get all of the way to the rim, whereas you only have one guy over here on the weak side. Now, can we be more in here off of Hogard? Do we want to be in there more off of Hogard? Absolutely. But there's really no reason to step up this aggressively on Edwards. The whole point of playing drop coverage is to force this jump shot. Now, do we want it to be completely uncontested for a good shooter? No, but you can still play with your hands up, give some ground, and stay lower than the roll while we converge down on him and contest it from behind. That's just too much committal, too easy of a pass on the roll there to McLaughlin, who lays it up again. We need to be in there on the backside, tagging that off of a guy like Hogard. Now, if that's number 1 Edwards or number 5 Nickel, not so much. We want to stay home. But everybody else get in there and take them away on the roll. Here's the last one. Maybe we have 2 more. Again, this one gets to a Hogard McLaughlin middle ball screen. If we're in drop coverage, then be in drop coverage. You can't get out here too much. Or if you are going to step out and blitz one or hard hedge one, then do it. You got to get out there and make Hogard go away from the basket. But he just attacks that front hip and turns the corner a little too easily. And then we have some indecisiveness, just like they had on the ball there. You have indecisiveness here on the tag. You're helping off of number 30 Mannon here in the corner, who is a non-shooter. I believe he's 4 of 18 or something like that from 3 this season. We're not worried about them throwing the skip pass all the way over there. If they do, close out short and stay between him and the basket. But you can't be non-committal here. You're not really doing anything. He didn't actually go down and tag and, either try to take a charge or steal it or get McLaughlin to miss. And obviously he's doing nothing to deter this pass, which is fine. But you just got to get in there and do something on that. Just like here, you either need to hard hedge it and make him go away from the basket, or you need to be back in here and drop coverage so that you're ready to stay lower than the roll man and not give up that pass. And then the last clip here, they get a couple wide screens here. It ends up into a staggered wide touch as Hogard comes off. Once again, that's something that McLaughlin does a lot, and he does it well. He rolls very quick, both in terms of speed, but then also in terms of when he rolls. He's going to almost slip a lot of them where, there was really no screen here. He slips out and gets into space. There he is, open on the roll. Probably could have thrown it to him, but Hogard lives to fight another day, and then this gets downhill. We end up stepping up out of the dunker spot. McLaughlin's there to lay it home. What we really want to have happen here is, especially when Hogard's going left, you can step over on Tyler Tanner, off of Tyler Tanner, who's a 28% three-point shooter. Get in here like this and clog that up. And then also just make him finish that. Hogard's below 40% from 3 this season. So either be a step back and just make him contested at the rim, or just see if he can finish with a guy right on his shoulder, see if he can finish going left there. But this is way too easy of a pass for a guy who's really driving it to pass. We don't want to help up out of the dunker spot and give up these layups. But hopefully those clips gave a little bit of an indication of how good and how dynamic the Vanderbilt guards are in their ball screen and in their handoff situations. Kentucky is going to play drop coverage. That's not going to change. But there should be some non-shooters that you can tag off of to help on the roll. Also, we need to be going under those ball screens set for number 11 Hogard. Then you got to be ready to switch the ones where number 5 Nickel sets, because you got to take him away as a pick and pop three-point threat. Thank you all for tuning in here to the Brandon Ramsey College Basketball Show YouTube channel. Another episode of Chalk Talk. It's been a lot of fun making these. Seem to be going over pretty well. So please leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you're here on the YouTube channel. You can also find me on Twitter at BRamseyKSR. And thank you all for tuning in.